Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Becky. And so with this episode, I'm going to tell you a little short story and about something that happened yesterday. And then I'm going to talk more about some little shamanism technique on how to help release things that we want to purge from our psyche and from our life. So first of all, short story, let me start off with a question. Have any of you ever ended up in the hospital because of something you ate? Well, that's what happened to me over the course of the last month. It's been very interesting to watch when I go from place to place, how different things happen in different areas, and just pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention. Try not to rely too much on any one person and just really focus on taking care of yourself whenever you can. Not everybody has the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and those that do, not all of them use those gifts for good. So you have to be careful when you're in the world and making sure that you're staying safe. And so, the doctor said I must have ate something that didn't sit right with me. And so now my system's getting better. So what I'm going to release is I'm going to be releasing fear and doubt and trying not to be so, thoroughly aware of my surroundings and pull back in order to be able to find joy again, because people want to keep me off center and keep trying to shift my realities against my will. And well, you know what? It is what it is, and the forces that will be, and God supersedes everybody, and all paths lead to Him. So God's in control of everything. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. It's all God's. So I'm releasing it through this fire ceremony. And I learned this when I was doing training with Marcelo Lobos and Alberto Varlotto, and I'm sorry if I'm saying those wrong, but they started the Four Winds, and I had gotten my certification through them to become a Munai Ki rights practitioner. It's an energy medicine. It's a healing modality. I use it along with the Hawaiian Ho'oponopono. I've been trained in that. I have certification in that. I've also got Reiki levels 1 and 2. So not only do I try to present healing, through giving you counsel and wisdom and advice based on, the knowledge that my ancestors and source, as well as my existence for 49 years on this planet, has taught me many, many things. And so I'm always learning new things. So just because I made mistakes in the past doesn't mean that I did them intentionally. It means I didn't know better, and God said, okay, you're going to go over here and you're going to help here. And then, life happens, and then I find out later after I've left a job site that it was like, oh, you didn't even know that so-and-so was caught embezzling money because you said blah, blah, blah to so-and-so. And I'm like, I had no idea I did that. So I deliver a message everywhere I go without even knowing that what I'm delivering to you, because I don't know your history. I don't know your psyche. I don't know what's going on in your mind. I don't know your storyline. So I'm just having a conversation with you, and I'm tripping something in your subconscious that brings something to the conscious, and then you project whatever storyline onto me. Well, that's not mine. That's going to fall flat, because that's not mine to carry. That's something you created for me to carry. And so when I say, no, that's not correct, that's not me gaslighting you. That's me stating my facts. And then you're supposed to reflect on that and go, oh, I might have misunderstood the situation. You don't just dig your heels down and just go, no, you're wrong. No, I know what goes on inside my head. I know what goes on inside my heart. I know what's going on inside my spirit and my soul and in the ethers. So I do know what I'm saying. Whether you want to hear that or not, or whether you like that or not, I can't control that. All I do is I just deliver messages, whether I know what they mean or not, okay? It's just natural. I was born this way. Like Lady Gaga said, baby, I was born this way, yeah, okay? Like This is who I am. And so if I upset you, it is not because I'm skeeving and maniacal and, oh my gosh, she's trying to do this and that, blah, blah, blah. Nah, I just generally had a question, or I generally wanted to have a conversation, or I generally wanted to work on this project, or, I generally wanted to help this community, or I genuinely wanted to help this family, or, it's never about me trying to manipulate situations to make myself look like a hero. Because we're all heroes, we're all villains, we're all everything in between. It's like The Breakfast Club, if you haven't seen that movie, like all the characters in there. You are each of those characters. You're a princess, you're a nerd, you're a schizoid freak, you're a brilliant genius, you're an athlete, you're a gangster thug. Like all of those are different personas. And if you want more information, you can look up psychology videos from Carl Jung, and it's Jung. He does a lot of videos about your psyche and how you are not just one flat character in this world like everybody wants you to be. They want to program you to be a role because they want you to be a servant, and they want you to be, a wheel in the cogs of the machines. And believe me, I've done that. And I had to in order to survive, to take care of my children. But once you start to really realize what's going on all around you, then you realize, oh, I don't have to be tied to that reality. There are other dimensions. There are other realities. There are other stratospheres. There's so much more to this universe than we are led to believe. And so I'm going to be letting go of the past with this fire ceremony. So, fire allows for rapid transformation. It provides the avenue to let go of the old story and drama, to transform, to renew, and to be reborn. Through a fire ceremony, you honor your lessons and old belief structures by placing them in the fire and turning them over to spirit. By releasing these old patterns and beliefs into the fire, you heal deeply at the level of the soul without having to experience them at the literal and physical levels. So as above, so below. So if you do your healing in the astral plane, if you and God and the universe and the cosmos, and you connect with your ancestors and you keep going and you find out who you are, like cosmically, intergalactically, like really deep dive into who you are, everybody else just falls to the wayside. And if they try to jump in your energy, you're like, get out of here. Like, I'm busy, man. Like, go away. I got things to do. But then you get frustrated because you're constantly having to tell, go away, I'm busy. Go away, I'm busy. Right? It's like your mom when you're like a little kid and you keep wanting to bug her for something, and she's on the phone, or she's trying to do some work, or she's trying to like multitask 5 things at once, and you're a little kid wanting mom's attention, but she's too busy. I don't like that that's how this reality has been set up, because it destroys the woman, it destroys the family, it destroys the husband, it destroys the children. So the devil, I mean, he's always been at work, but he's really working hard. So we need to concentrate on healing within, whether we get apologies from anybody, whether you give yourself closure through something like a fire ceremony, or you can schedule a free consultation with me at holmans.consulting@gmail.com, or text me or call me at 219-252-1972 so we can talk about your situation and how I can help. So a fire ceremony, one of the core ceremonies in many medicine traditions, is typically held around the full or a new moon of each month. This is when the veil between the worlds are the thinnest. And in the past, when a fire ceremony was taught, it was only done with a teacher for years and years before ever doing it alone. So this is all new for me. So anybody who wants to criticize and judge, this is new, okay? I've been a special education teacher and an in-home behavior therapist, specialist, whatever you want to call it. Potato, these words to me are interchangeable, okay? I'm helping talk to people, helping them improve their communication, helping them improve their behavior. Therapist, counselor, consultant, to me, it's all the same. I don't understand this 3D reality the way it's set up, because people keep trying to shift my reality. Like somebody's got the remote control and is like, freaking this every time I'm trying to build. Oh, no, she can't build. Oh, no. Oh, break it. Oh, tear it down. You know, it's like, can you people focus on yourselves? Like, ugh. So, this is why I need a fire ceremony. Okay. So, let me slow down. In the past, when a fire ceremony was taught, it was done with the teacher for years and years. This is stuff that was done in private. This was done in, within their own little tribes. Okay. So now shamans say that the earth and our civilization are in such great peril that a fire ceremony should be held by anyone who is willing to step in. The fire itself will become your teacher and will let you know immediately if your intention is pure. The steps to having a fire ceremony are simple. It is only important to remember that you are creating ceremony. This is something I'm getting back into because I've been so caught up in the rat race of trying to survive. That didn't give me time for ceremony. Hell, that didn't even give me time to eat, pee, shower, and sleep. Let's be honest, okay? So I'm trying to pull back all of my energy that obviously I've got like whirling around because I've been so used to being forced into submission to survive life or death. Like, I have people in the astrals that want me dead. So and they're out to try to make that happen. But when you're a protected child of God, no weapon shall prosper. So I keep trying to tell them, I'm like, you're just wasting your money, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your effort. You might as well just stop. Go do your own healing work. I have posted on my Instagram where the 3 books that I have on Amazon KDP, so you can go over to my Instagram and check out there. You can see the 3 books, or you can just go on Amazon KDP, type in Rebecca Holman's author, and those books will pop up for you. Okay, so before coming to the fire circle, and I don't do any of this stuff with anybody else, I do this completely by myself. Okay, no covens, no circles, no sisters, no cousins, no children, nobody. This is me, private, with my communion with the Lord, with great spirit, okay? My time. This isn't me trying to conjure things. This is me releasing pain and suffering through a symbolic death using fire and a toothpick, okay? This is not witchcraft, guys. So, you create an offering out of burnable materials, typically a small stick. That's why I said I use a toothpick. I also have my sage that I can burn for my ceremony, and I also have Palo Santo that I can burn throughout the ceremony. The sage is used to clear out, and I use this around all of my windows, and I'll say prayers while I'm staging around windows. You want to have the windows open when you do it, so that way all the evil spirits and all the entities are forced out of that space, out, because they're not going to want to stay. When you start saging, they're going to get the heck out. So they needed a way out. So you're going to have the window open and the doors open. So that way when you're saging and you're smudging, right, they have an exit. Because you don't want them there, but you're not trying to be mean about it. You're just like, you can't stay here. You got to go. This is my space. Bye-bye. Okay. And so I do prayers around every single window. I also do prayers around my doors. So any entrance to where I'm staying. And then I also will sage my sleeping space, because a lot of people will attack me while I'm asleep. Cowards. None of them will have a face-to-face conversation, but they do all kinds of, effery behind the scenes, because they like to kick people when they're down, because they don't know how to play the game of life fairly. So once you have saged out all the, the heaviness, the icky vibes, right, the bad juju, then you would go around, and then I bless it again, but this time I use with Palo Santo. And again, what that's trying to do is you've asked, kind of asked, but you kind of forced out, all those negative entities, but now this is going to invite in the positive vibrations, the positive entities, okay? So we want to have a balance. So So you have your burnable materials. The offering is to focus one's attention in active meditation. And I'm getting better at this because believe me, I'm so used to being programmed to run around like a hamster in a hamster maze. Like, it's ridiculous. Whether I wanted to do it or not, I was forced into it for survival, but I've done it for 49 years. And for the last, since 2023, so for the last 2 years, I've been trying to unprogram from all of these demonic entities around me, because I love the vessels, but the entities that are running those vessels, whoever's got that remote control, they got to go, because they are ruining that vessel's life in some way, shape, or form. That vessel is being tormented, tortured, and eventually murdered, like raped, murdered, like everything, because demonic entities find it funny to make people hurt themselves and torture themselves and hurt other people and torture other people. And then you're racking your brains going, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. Why am I doing that? Well, because somehow, some way, you were doing something against God's will, against universal laws. Whether you knew it or not, universal laws and God's laws are what they are, and they bank on us not knowing them. I was blessed to be born a seer, born a knower, but had to learn to shut up because the government was doing experiments on me in school. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, they'd come in and do hearing tests to check my hearing, at what decibels I could hear. I mean, I can remember they would do all of these like IQ tests I'd have to do, where I had to like memorize all of these like nonsense words, and they would tell me, a baloo equals a bear. It would be like all these weird things, and then later on, they'd be like, what was a baloo? And I'd have to say, a bear? I don't know what the hell a baloo is. That's a made up word. You just told me it means bear. So I learned when I was like a toddler not to trust any adults around me. And I learned how to shapeshift in order to survive. And then I learned how to be stoic and just not give anything to anybody. And like I said, I've learned how to siphon my energy. But on the outside world, that can look like different psychological issues according to the DSM-5, which I do have, and we can discuss it if you ever want a free consultation and have a question. I can look it up for you. Okay. Now, the object can be decorated or left as is. So a lot of times with offerings, sometimes they'll say to give like maybe a food offering, like something maybe like for me, my grandparents were really important people in my life early on that helped shape my destiny from the beginning. And so, I might leave like something that I know that they would like, just like here on the altar with, what I'm doing. So then that way it kind of is a personal connection for them to be there. I mean, they're here with me already. I mean, they'll flicker lights for me. There's different things that they'll do that let me know. And sometimes it's not so nice. Like I've had some things disappear that I'll be like, all right, you need to return that right now. This isn't funny anymore. But they want me to lighten up. They want me to have a sense of humor. And if I can't play with other humans because they're afraid of me or they don't like me or they're scared of me or whatever, then I'm going to play with spirit and I'm going to have fun with the ancestors and the ascended masters. And now I'm tapped into the angelic realm, the heavenly realm, the realm of miracles, and I get to play with the angels. I'm not playing. I'm a pure vessel now, so they can just flow through me when needed. I mean, they're not always, actively giving blessings, but they are very selective on who I'm allowed to give blessings to. So that's why I say I need free consultation, because I can only work with certain people, and the good Lord brings me lots of people, right? Like, I hate to say this, but I'm like a bug zapper. Like, I'm a shining light. So not only do I get the butterflies attracted to my pretty light, but I also get the moths. And so I've had to learn the hard way how to discern who is playing in my face, because now the devil is so good. I mean, he's always been good, right? Lucifer could quote the Bible. and looked the part, right? The pride, though, the ego, and that's what gets most of us. That, and most of us have had family members who were sadistic and wanted to do their dark, nefarious games on us before we were even born. Like, that was the intent of why we were born, was for them to rape, torture, molest, maim, whatever, like their sick, contorted views, right? So, you really have to like know thyself before you realize all the mistakes that you made out of ignorance. And so people can judge because they think you know everything, but nobody knows everything. You're always learning. This is an evolution. If I look the same today that I was 5 years ago, I'm doing something wrong. So you should look back in my history and go, man, I don't know about her back then. You should do that, because I shouldn't be that version of myself anymore. I should have learned from that version, and I should have evolved. And that's what I teach the people that I work with. And that's why I said the 15 to 30-year-old starseeds are usually the ones who connect with me right away. They're motivated. They're willing to take action. They're open. They're honest. They don't really usually have the ego and the pride that the 30 plus have. So I do understand why all the unalivings are happening. I'm not saying I condone it, but I understand it, because believe me, I would like to unalive some people too, but I can't. So I'm going to do a fire ceremony instead. So we want to connect with what you are honoring, the gifts you've received, or what you are envisioning into being. Now I've got to shift from what I don't want to focus on what I do want, and stop letting them pull on my energy. And I mean, they're tapped into my technology, so I'm getting all kinds of crap that makes me want to think about them, but I know the tactics. They don't even want me to talk. You notice the difference here? That's okay. Using your breath, you're going to blow this intention or prayer into the offering several times. Ideally, you would want to do your fire outdoors if possible. So some people make like a fire pit or something like that. I just use like a candle. So we have, even with a candle, creating the ceremony outdoors allows you to connect deeply to the earth, the star energies, and the timelessness of the location where you were holding the fire. Do not do circles out in the woods with other people. Don't do it. You don't know their intention. You don't know what's going on inside that vessel, inside their psyche, inside whoever they're connected to. It might not be good. That vessel could be your best friend. It could be your sister. It could be your lover. It could be your child. It could be your mother, right? Like, you don't know what's going on here. So don't ever participate. My suggestion, you do what you want. I gotta stop being so bossy. See, that's the military mom in me. People are, she's so bossy. No, I just know how serious this is, and I have to like nail it home. Now, whether or not that intensity helps drive it into your heart and your psyche and your brain, I can only hope. Right? I know if I just sit here and deliver the message, you will probably fall asleep. So I use the passion to engage you, get you in, and say, listen, if you want to live, please. I know I'm laughing, but that's just because that's a trauma response for me. I don't know how to take the death and destruction that's happening seriously, because this really has been going on for eons. We're just so made aware of it in order to put everybody in fear. It's just becoming more visible, that's all. But it's always been happening. So I don't have fear over it. I'm not afraid of death. I believe in death over dishonor. My dad has a tattoo that says it's a Grim Reaper with his scythe riding a Harley, and it says, and it's driving through a skull. So the skull's like cracked in half, and he's driving through the skull. And a quote on it says, "Death is certain, life is not." And I just love that quote. You know, me and my dad might not always agree eye to eye on things, and I have to kind of keep my distance for my safety. But I will never forget the powerful lessons that I've learned from that man. And he is right. Death is guaranteed to all of us. I could die 5 minutes from now. I could die on this film right now. I mean, reality. Life is not. There are too many people that go to their grave never having truly lived. They lived a program life that they were forced into without ever knowing it was a program life that they were forced into because of ignorance. So that is why my business is so important, because it is truth, it is the way, it is the life, and it brings darkness to light and balances the shadow self with the higher self, so we can all be in our divine purpose. We can heal those lower 3 chakras because there's nothing to fear. You're safe. It's all working itself out. And it's hard to say that when I'm not on this camera, because with cosmic beings and autistic people, we don't like being perceived. And so we become performative when we're being perceived. And when a camera's in front of me, I'm watching that camera and I'm like, oh, I'm being perceived. So here we go. But when I'm not on the camera, this is not who I am. It's just not. I am trying to blend all of who I am into one being after severe trauma for 49 years. So this is a process. I'm never going to be perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. All I care about is, are people making progress? If I'm holding your hand through the worst trauma of your life, the death of your child or the loss of your, spouse, if I'm helping you through those times, but you're just relying on me to carry the weight, I'm not going to do it. It's not my turn to hurt. That's your lesson. That is your pain to carry. And that's where people get upset with me. But if you know autism, which to me, all of these labels are made up words. And to me, autism just means that you're tapped into the cosmos. You are aware that you're here to learn lessons. You're aware that they're poisoning you and killing you and raping you and maiming. You're aware of all of that. You're aware that the 9 to 5 is an energy harvesting slave indoctrination program. You're aware of all that, but your hands are tied like handcuffs and you're twisted up in a freaking pretzel and you're going, okay, now what do I do about it? Like, I'm aware, but now what can I do? And so that's why, like, people who are like, why didn't she just get out sooner? Why did she stay with that abusive husband if he was going to kill her? Why did she stay for 10 years? Because that's what I was programmed to do as a traditional wife. And believe me, I chased after the traditional life. And I didn't want to be a burden. My mom wanted to latch on to a man and sit on the couch and do whatever she wanted. And he served her. And I'm like, no. When I get married, it's going to be equal. We're going to pull our own weight. Little did I know that it was an arranged marriage with a demon-filled person who was supposed to kill me. Like, that was the intent. Like, that was his family and my family. They're like, she's psychotic and angry. He's psychotic and angry. How about we put the two of them together and they can just kill each other? That literally was the conversation behind my back that I never knew about until recently. And I found out after my divorce that the day of my wedding, that my mother looked at my husband and said, before we got married, they had a conversation behind my back where my mother said, don't you dare stand in her way of getting her college degree and ruining her career. And my husband looked at her and said, oh, believe me, I don't plan on getting in her way. I want to be able to ride her coattails and be able to be taken care of. I never knew that. I never knew that conversation happened. And then to have the wedding, and then my mom, the only responsibility she had was to get a wedding cake for the reception. That was it. And my wedding was on January 1st, New Year's, which is a celebration day anyway. And she forgot. So, not only is trauma done physically, it's done emotionally, it's done psychically, it's done spiritually, right? So that's where the fire ceremonies really are trying to help me be able to purge through this healing process, to be able to go, those were all lessons I needed to learn. They were all karmic lessons, and now I can detach from those vessels because I've learned those lessons, and I know their patterns aren't changing, and I know that there's no way I could ever be involved with that person, and now I just no longer have any communication. And that's pretty much how I've always lived life. It's like, but they chase me back and drag me back. And I'm like, just go away. And it's like, well, I need you to help me with this. No, you're my daughter. No, you're supposed to do this because you're my sister. And this because you're my mother. And I'm being over dramatic, but that's what it feels like, right? That's what it feels like. I'm not saying that's how it is in 3D. So that's where ceremonies can help people when they're having trouble with like feeling those emotions in healthy ways and putting it into creative projects, whether it's gardening or, you know, whatever your interests are. It's like another way to help release that energy so it doesn't stay trapped in your system and affect your ability to manifest your best life. Because that ultimately is what they want. So we don't want to give them what they want. We want to laugh in the face of the devil. And a fire ceremony is one way to help us with that. When you are first learning, it is recommended to hold fires at night. The darkness will help you notice like subtle changes and to learn from the fire. So to prepare for the fire, you can place the kindling in, it says here, the form of a Southern cross, and then build a short teepee of wood over it. I mean, if you've done Boy Scouts or, you know, you can Google how to create like a small little fire. That would be good for this. Fill it with paper and kindling as needed. Remember, this is a small ceremonial fire, not a large bonfire. So for many years, I didn't do this, but the person that shared this when I was doing the training had said that they had, for many years, they would even use like a pie-sized aluminum pan to build their fires. So then that way it was on a, you know, in a contained space where it wasn't gonna like cause problems. Sacred space should be called in, and then the fire can be lit. As the fire burns, there is a beautiful chant that you can use to keep you centered and to occupy the mind. The chant calls upon the spirit of the waters beneath the earth to take your offering to the spirit. Here is the chant. Now, I'm probably gonna mess this up, but it is Nichi Te Te N-U-I Oronika, hey, 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 ooh-ay. I'm sure there's a whole lot more. I'm like learning this stuff. I know I'm very white right now, and I know they're like, how can you be Native American? Because I was never allowed to experience that. I was colonized to be Pentecostal, religious, Baptist, you know, church. You can't follow the shamanism ways. No. I'm like, okay. But now I can. Now I have freedom. So I'm learning these things. But here's what it translates. So the following is not a literal translation, but it's the expression of that chant's essence. And it says, O great mother, mother of the waters, we call on you, waters of our birth, waters of our sustenance, waters that cleanse us on our death, waters of life. I think that's very cool. All right, your fire should then be made friendly with 3 offerings of olive oil. You could also use sage or tobacco. I use the sage. The first offering honors the 4 directions, and after honoring, olive oil is sprinkled on the fire. They also, I know Alberto and Marcella also use, I can't remember what they call the water. Maybe it's fire. I don't remember what they call it, but they do make a certain type of water with herbs and stuff. And then I don't even think it's water. I think they use maybe some sort of, I don't know. I gotta look up the recipe. I'm still learning. So anyway, what they do is they make this, and then what they'll do is they'll like take a swig, hold it in their mouth, and like, so they'll like, you know, kind of like create a mist, you know, for the 4 winds to call in the great spirits. And I did a video, I think one of the first videos I did were the type of prayers that I used. And so that's the prayer that I'd be referring to for the ceremonial purposes. The fire should be allowed to burn until you sense it is time for the second offering. The intention, so after you've set the fire, you've called the 4 winds using the oils. Then the intention of the second offering is to honor the heavens and the earth. And again, after olive oil is sprinkled, allow the fire to burn for some time. For the third and last offering, connect the circle around the fire by honoring all those present. This may include the spirits of the land or ancient energetic beings you may sense but not see. With the addition of these offerings, the fire will become friendly. They may change color and burn in a different manner. You will notice this change through discovery, practice, direct observation, and experience. When the fire is friendly, approach the fire and silently put your offering into it. The fire will transform your offerings and prayers back to light, turning them over to spirit. In the same way that sunlight wraps around the stick as it grows, and offering now goes back to the light wrapped with your prayers. If you have someone attending the fire with you, they can stand behind you to hold the space, so all of your attention can be the fire. If you're holding the ceremony alone, invite the lineage to stand behind you. As your offering burns, put your hands briefly through the smoke and fire. Draw the energy of the fire into the three main centers of your body, into the belly, into the heart, and into the forehead. So, sacral chakra, heart chakra, third eye, right? Those are the ones that you're trying to clear out when you're doing a fire ceremony. If you have someone attending the fire with you, they can stand behind you to hold the space so you can call attention and can be with the fire. If you are holding the ceremony alone, invite the lineage to stand behind you. As your offering burns, put your hands briefly through the smoke and fire, not in it, over it, okay? Save space. So all of your attention can be with the fire. You want to just kind of feel the heat, right? You're not going to burn yourself with it. You're just going to feel the heat. You want to get the senses, right? Get the body activated. And if you're holding the ceremony alone, again, invite the ancestors. I always invite the ancestors everywhere I go. And I know people think I'm crazy, and I don't care. As your offering burns, put your hands briefly through the smoke and the fire. Now again, this is the smoke and up here, not in the fire. Cool. Draw the energy of the fire into the main centers of your body. And I would do that with wafting. Okay, you're drawing it in. And I do have a feather. I just don't have it right now because you can use, I don't have it right now. But you can use that feather. So like when I'm burning my sage and I'm doing my prayers, I'll use the feather to like kind of move the smoke around. Okay, so you can use that in your ceremony, right? Make it personal. Draw the energy of the fire into those main centers. So you would draw it into your belly, into your gut, your intuition. You're clearing out your heart space, right? By touching your heart, it activates that sensation. It pulls you back out of floating in disassociation, back into the body. And then pulling that energy into the third eye, which is usually under attack. And we want to try to keep it open, so we want to keep clearing it out. The legend and lore says that if you come with pure heart and intention, the fire will not burn you. You can touch the flames lightly or go deeply into them. When you place your hand into the flame, it is not meant to be sensational or dramatic, but rather a way to focus attention and energy upon your transformation. One additional offering is then placed in the fire for the Mother Earth. It is typically called the Pachamama stick or the Mother Earth stick, and you would have each person in the circle blow their prayers for the planets or whatever you're trying to release into the offering before it is placed in the fire. And what they taught us was to take your little stick, toothpick, whatever it is, a little stick, and you're going to hold it right in your hands. I think it's like this. I do it like in a prayer. You do it how you want. I will hold my toothpick between my fingers and I'll put it in a prayer form and I blow into it. And when I'm blowing, what I'm doing is I'm setting the attention in my mind. I am saying the mantra of Spirit, God, please, ancestors, release this doubt, release this fear, release this anger, release this hurt, release this habit, release this pain, release what you're wanting to release. Thank you for always protecting me, for always using everything that I'm going through to help mold me into a stronger warrior for God. Okay, and then I add the amen. You don't have to add the amen, but I always add the amen because that's what I'm used to, and so that's what brings me my soul some peace. So then I will add in the amen. Okay, so you've blown into your attention what it is that you're trying to release through that fire ceremony. Okay. Let's see, next. Sorry, I lost my spot. Oh, here it is. The sacred space. Oh, so then what you would do is you would then go ahead and, after you had set the intention. Okay, well, it must not be working, but I got it. Gotta have patience. That's what I'm working on too, God. So thank you, Holy Spirit. So I had put all that negative energy that was coursing, you heard it, right? I channeled it into here so I can release. And now, well, that went out. So I'll go ahead and put in my candle flame here, and I'm going to let it continue to burn in there while I finish this video. Because this is just kind of a mock tutorial of the actual ceremony. So now you would close the sacred space, and again, I use the same prayer that I use to open the sacred space. So first you call in the 4 cardinal winds, and then you release them by thanking them for being part of your ceremony. You should stay with the fire until all the prayers are consumed. Ideally, the fire is allowed to burn to embers. Water should not be placed on the fire to extinguish it, only dirt if necessary. There is a 2-week period following a fire ceremony in which instances of opportunity appear. These instances will provide the opportunity to translate your intent for healing into reality. You are advised to think of the fire ceremony not as an instantaneous magical change, but rather an opening to heal and to shift distinctive habits and patterns, to manifest a different dream. We're allowed to start over as many times as we want. Remember to recognize this opening and seize the opportunity to create change. Don't just wait for it. Be the change. Like Nike says, just do it. Time is too short, and people will keep you stuck in their trauma bonds and in their toxic loops. You can help them until you die if you want to, but there's a whole life for you to live, so, choose carefully. Then let the universe take care of the details. The fire ceremony allows us to source from our soul and to remember how we have sat around sacred fires throughout time. Anytime that you feel blocked or working on what you want to dream into your life, fire is an incredible tool to help you change and shift. My children love to participate. This person's children love to participate in the fire ceremonies with me. Now, me and my children really did love camping. And so me and my sister would make sure when they were growing up to at least camp at Memorial Weekend and Labor Day weekend. So we at least got 2 weekends where we got to do camping, and we loved doing the fires and telling the stories around the fire where one person starts it and the next person adds on and adds on and adds on. Well, it becomes hard if you have people that were never taught how to do creative thinking, and so some people will get frustrated with something like that, but I suggest it because it's storytelling. Sitting around a fire and sharing stories is always good. And instead of sharing personal stories, sometimes just creating stories together, co-creating, like, a fantasy adventures of like, oh, an alien came to the party and had some tea, just enjoy life more. Anytime you feel blocked or are working on what you want to dream into your life, fire is an incredible tool to help you change and shift. People often bring their personal sticks offerings for what is going on in their lives. Now, this person would do group things. I do not. I don't believe in doing it because that to me is too witchy, and I will heal witch wounds and I will do shadow work with people, but I do not classify myself as a witch. And it's not that I want to crucify the witches. No, I just don't identify with that. I identify as an earth angel. I identify as an alien. I identify as an Egyptian reincarnated goddess, voice of God type being. Like, and I know that's confusing for people who was like, well, you were a special ed teacher and Sunday school teacher, and I just don't know this side of you. You did mission trips, and what happened to you? No, I just matured spiritually, and I grew and expanded my consciousness, and now I've reached a whole nother dimension that I can play the game at, that I want other people to be able to reach this dimension, so we can actually have more people that are helping co-create positive changes out there instead of negative ones. Many light body graduates hold monthly fire ceremonies in their own communities. These ceremonies are often open to the general public. And again, I don't promote that. I promote this just being a personal thing between you and spirit. At this time of tremendous change, our souls long for ceremony. As you work with fire as a ceremony, you will develop your own unique rituals. Take the leap now. Join the medicine in women throughout the world in fire. All right, I am going to go ahead and lay back down because I'm still not feeling well and starting to sweat and get nauseous. And whew. All right, I'm so grateful that you're here still listening to this, and I hope that this helps you in some way. And if you could like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, whatever you gotta do to get the message out so we can hit a wider audience, because my goal is to help prevent suicide, spousal abuse, and child abuse. And I'm going to be the whistleblower, the bell ringer, whatever you want to call it, ripping down masks, slaying demons, saying no more, enough is enough. We're ready to grow up, we're ready to clean up, we're ready to get rid of whatever sins we got going on, fight whatever our inner demons are, because we've been too busy fighting other people's demons, and we got to face our own shadow self. And if you're ready for that step, reach on out. Until then, I will talk to you in my next message, or my next video. Have a great night.